Tech safety for holiday travel, one sweet Mini-ITX case for build, ergonometric mice, and low-cost gimbals for steadier video. All coming up on TekThing. This episode of TekThing is brought to you by Opsgenie. Your next incident doesn't stand a chance. And a big thank you to our patrons. Join the crew that makes TekThing possible at patreon.com/TekThing.
I'm Shannon Morse.
And I'm Patrick Norton.
And this is TekThing, where we have something useful in every single show.
I have an amazing tip.
Ooh.
You may think the system is trashed. You may think the system is made by Satan. You may think the system is full of evil. You may think Windows 10 is horrible. Or maybe, just maybe, you have 127 point something gigabytes of data on a 128 gigabyte drive. Just saying.
Oh.
It's amazing how system performance falls right off a cliff and towards Satan. If your drive is too full. So if you're home.
I feel like you're speaking from experience.
Not at all. Well, okay, so here's thought. You're traveling, you're going back to the homelands.
Yep. Good old Missouri.
What will you be doing in terms of familial tech support while you're there?
Oh, so much. I already know I'm going to be like reinstalling the router and probably updating drivers and making sure the firmware is updated so that they're secure at home.
I'm going to ask all of you out there, and this applies for us too. If you find yourself in one of those situations, like you find kittens in the PC case that was overheating, or it's just, if you tell us what the terror of your visit home and doing tech support for family is, let us all share stories. It'll be like a big AA meeting for being the tech person in your family.
It'll be a support group.
Support group. We're going to use feeling words in the group. Oh my goodness.
Well, speaking of heading home, we are heading into one of the busiest times of travel for the year.
Yes.
Other than Thanksgiving, of course, that's a very busy time as well. So to keep you as safe as possible, I found a slew of cybersecurity travel tips for the holidays. Luckily, a couple of articles were placed up over on CNet. They did an entire article. I'll link to this below, as well as ZDnet. They also did a really great little article about some different kinds of things that you should look for whenever you're traveling to keep yourself secure as far as cybersecurity goes. So Observe IT, that's a big technological company that they did a survey of over 1,000 adults to find out how many would be traveling during the holiday with work laptops from their companies. They found 55% of adults would be traveling with work laptops out of that 1,000, which is a pretty hefty amount. And how many of those actually use open Wi-Fi or free Wi-Fi? So
the face I was making about 40 seconds ago was because I was thinking about a friend of mine who spent quality time in the Marine Corps and has occasionally what I will affectionately refer to as colorful language, and how he describes open Wi-Fi, not for a family show.
Yeah, so that number of people, so of the 55%, open Wi-Fi or free Wi-Fi, 77% of those adults that have work laptops with them while they're traveling for the holidays use open Wi-Fi and free Wi-Fi.
Which leads us to my favorite statistic so far.
64% of all cybersecurity threats happen by negligent employees.
Yeah.
So it's safe to say that most folks aren't taking security as seriously as they should, which is why I decided to write today's segment.
I will say, in defense of people who have been phished, boy, phishing emails are getting amazing.
I
don't like
very
to
good.
click on anything in email anymore.
I almost got phished recently. Somebody sent me a message on eBay, and they were like, "Is this you? They're talking about you on the forums." And I clicked on it, and I was just like, dang it, it was phishing. But luckily I always change my passwords and I don't reuse my passwords anywhere, so I just changed it just in case, and I was like, all right, it's fine, whatever. It's like,
you
no
dogs,
worries.
scurvy knaves and pirates.
It happens. So there's a popular form of hacking which happens over Wi-Fi. The reason I know about this is because Hack5 created the Wi-Fi Pineapple, which we use for education and penetration testing for professionals out in the market space that are trying to figure out where vulnerabilities exist on wireless. And things happen that allow people to hack you if you're sitting at a crowded airport or a coffee shop. You connect to the Wi-Fi and then view other devices that are also connected. That's what hackers can do whenever they're trying to attack people on those networks that are shared networks that, you know, everybody has access to. You would have no clue of this happening unless you powered up the same tools as the attacker. But they would also see unencrypted websites if they were tracking all this information, login credentials. They could even spoof websites and redirect your device to a malicious website. Yes, this is still a thing. I know we've repeated it plenty of times. It still happens.
But if you think about it, if you take some place like JFK, McCarran, the place in Charlotte where you have people, they are bombing through free Wi-Fi, they log in. I'm going to log into, what would you log into if you have 20 minutes while you're transferring your device? Would you hit a bank? Would you hit email? Would you hit, Amazon, just a little portable man in the middle of attack that allows people, all they want to do is harvest your password and your login.
And all they have to do is be within the same vicinity of you. And that's all they have to do. So the best recommendation when it comes to Wi-Fi is just to not connect to any public Wi-Fi access points or free Wi-Fi, since those are most susceptible to hacks. Yeah. And if you just have to use the public Wi-Fi, I understand you might not have service or you might have to do something really quick, then make sure that you have a trustworthy VPN turned on constantly on your device, whether it's your laptop or your phone, and we have made recommendations in the past. Also, always use HTTPS websites. Consider using your own 4G LTE hotspot or tethering on your phone's mobile plan if available. I know that can be more expensive a lot of times, but it's worth it when you think about how much it would cost in the long run to deal with a cyber attack against your identity.
How many places would you have to change your credit card or ATM number?
Yep, it can be a huge headache. So how much is your headache worth? Now let's say, moving on from Wi-Fi, you're planning to go to a place with a lot of crowds. So I would recommend turning off Wi-Fi, Bluetooth, and NFC on your phone. We already talked about Wi-Fi, but there are a slew of hacks that are also taking advantage of those other protocols of Bluetooth and NFC. So it's incredibly easy to steal data off of a device with these protocols turned on. The ease of use is the main reason why these are so prominent in consumer products. I mean, for example, it's so easy to connect via a Bluetooth speaker from your cell phone, for example. It's convenient. That's why they sell Bluetooth speakers everywhere. So let's say that I'm on the same crowded train as you and I brush past you on that busy crowded train with an NFC reader in my pocket or a Bluetooth sniffer in my back pocket, because they're so small now they can fit in the back pocket of my pants, even though I have lady pants. So I would just recommend keep them all off. That's just a default thing that I do now. I only turn these on when I need them. And on the plus side, if you keep all of those protocols turned off on your devices, that can also save battery as well. So if you don't care about security, but you care about your battery, just turn them off anyway. Now, if you forget to turn these off or you just don't want to, an alternative is to invest in a Faraday bag. It's basically like a little Faraday cage for your smartphone. You slip your smartphone inside the bag. It blocks all the connections, including LTE as well. So if you want to make phone calls, Faraday bag might not be the best option for you.
People can't call you or text you when they can call you and text you.
It blocks everything.
You're not going to receive them while it's in the bag.
You'll receive them much later whenever you pull your device out of the bag, and then it reconnects to LTE, and then you receive all of that data that you had missed. While not as common, there's also hardware hacks. Those are still possible. Public charging stations, like the ones that you see in airports or hotels, often have USB ports that you can plug your phone directly into. Hey, that's cool, but don't use those, as they could also be carrying malware, not just power for your devices. So bring your own external battery. I always bring a little Anker battery with me pretty much everywhere I go. There's one literally in my purse right now here at the office.
I go nowhere without 20,000 milliamps of juice in my bag.
Same. I have it with me all the time. And I have a spare at home in case this one dies and I need to replace it overnight. So I always have a battery on me. Or just bring your own little, wall outlet plug for your phone, and then you can plug in. Good luck finding those plugs at airports, though. That's why I bring a battery backup, just in case. And just make sure that you set up a lock screen on your smartphone and your laptop before you leave home, just in case it gets lost or if it gets stolen, or if you end up leaving it at TSA or leaving it on the airplane. These things do happen. We don't think it will ever happen to us, but it does happen. Encrypting devices is an even better move, since that adds an additional layer of security on top of that lock screen as well. So those are some really good ideas of things that you can do to protect your products while you're surfing around. What are you looking at?
I just want to point out, one of the most useful things to have, say if you're traveling to CES, if you're traveling over the holidays where everything's crushed, a 3-outlet adapter that they sell at the hardware
Yes.
store, or maybe one of these on sort of like a foot of cable.
Yes.
You will.
You will be a traveler's best friend.
Yes.
Everyone at the airport will love you because you're not the one hogging the outlet. You are
Yeah.
sharing the outlet. It's a wonderful thing to have. There's a few other travel tips, like having a friend or a neighbor keep an eye on your house while you're gone. To deter robbers, you could use a smart home tech like Belkin Wemos to turn on and off your lights or your TV. Other devices, like a little, a speaker in your house or something, to make it look like you're actively there so that they're not interested in robbing your house while you're gone for the holidays. I also have security cameras set up on my front porch as well as inside my house to keep an eye on any kind of packages that get delivered. That's always something that you got to keep an eye on, especially during the holiday season. People will literally follow the UPS trucks around neighborhoods and swipe packages as soon as they get delivered.
Actually just picked up somebody in my town because they got such a good 1080p 4K image of the person stealing the package off the porch.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's
It happens.
a lot.
And while you're traveling, also keep an eye on your keys. Photos of keys can be used to create 3D printed versions that actually work.
You don't travel with 2 sets of keys?
I travel with my keys, and I always keep them out of sight. They stay in a compartment, a hidden compartment that nobody else has access to. And then I remember where they are because they are always in the same place. So when I get home, I can unlock my house without having to surf around my luggage for like 3 hours trying to figure out where I put them.
Where is that secret compartment? Give me the knife! We're gonna cut this open!
One of the last ones is keep your boarding pass out of sight as well, because the barcodes on boarding passes generally carry a bunch of information about you, including information about your full itinerary. So if somebody sees your boarding pass, that's enough information to social engineer an airline and associate into totally screwing up your flight plans. And nobody wants that to happen because
That would be awkward.
It's the holidays. Yeah.
I'm just trying
terrible.
to imagine who would, it's
Trolls? I don't know.
Don't feed the trolls. Oh my
So these are
goodness.
just a bunch of digital safety guidelines and rules that I follow whenever I travel, and they help immensely. I've never had a problem, knock on wood, with traveling and dealing with cybersecurity problems. I like to travel stress-free, and the less I have to worry about an attacker, the better. So make yourself a hard person to target, not a cakewalk to target, because
other people be the easy targets.
yeah, let somebody else be the easy
Be
target.
the high-hanging fruit.
You want to be that high-hanging fruit, not the ones that they look at and they say, this is going to be so easy. Yeah. Of course, if you have any recommendations for cybersecurity tips for traveling, definitely hit the comments down below or ask at TekThing.com.
If you never travel, you don't have to worry about travel security.
That's true. I travel every holiday, so this is something I'm constantly thinking about, especially as a woman traveling too. Very, very important. So ask at TekThing.com. Comment below if you have any tips. We would love to favorite those and share them with the rest of the audience.
We've seen a few ergonometric mice show up this year, wireless, angled to reduce strain on your list, and well, like ergo mice in the past, they tend to feel odd.
Yep.
Because you mouse like this, you get used to the sort of physical trauma of mousing like this, or maybe it doesn't bother you at all. Yeah, and then
you go sideways. It feels like you're putting your hand sideways, even though it is ergonomic or ergonometric.
Well, yeah. We are not ergonometric professionals. We do not have degrees in ergonomics. And if you have issues with your body, you should talk to people like medical doctors and professionals that study this stuff. But, there are new mice, and I cannot say no to reviewing new mice, especially ones that claim to make my life less physically traumatic. Now, before we talk about the mice, note that some people feel these simply change the problem points for using a mouse, that they don't actually eliminate a lot of the problems of mouse using. As an angled trackball user, I like not flat angles because my hand feels better, but your mileage can and will vary because guess what? Your body is different than mine. Your experience is different than mine. So first up, this is Logitech's Logi. Well, it's the MX Vertical. It's built around a 57-degree vertical angle for improved wrist posture. It costs $99, and as we come to expect from the Logi line, has a pleasing heft. And it's ridiculous. I love saying it. One of my first editors in magazines says it has a pleasing heft, a pleasing feel. But it's really, some things you pick up and they feel nice.
Yeah.
this feels nice.
It does. It feels quality.
Yeah, it feels, you paid $99, but it feels like it was worth $99. Tons of customizations via the Logitech Options software. And something that really stands out in this model, there's a really nice texture to it. And
I love that.
I like texture.
Yeah.
There's enough smooth plastic in my life. Along with the 57-degree angle, the 4000 DPI high precision sensor is one of the things they push really heavy. The nominal settings are 1000 or 1600 DPI. I think high-res mouse sensors are nice, but I think they're more of a fit for gaming than being like, you're going to reduce your hand movement. Well, only if I'm super precise. One thing I thought was really, really slick in the software, much more slick than, say, the 4000 DPI sensor, though I like high DPI sensors, you can actually cut and paste folders between a couple of PCs connected on the network.
That's cool.
If they're both running the Options software. I thought that was really, really slick. So if you share your mouse and keyboard amongst multiple systems, then
it's
you
like
can literally,
synergy.
it's, it's just like, I liked it. Logitech says 4 months on a full charge, 3 hours from a 1-minute quick charge in USB-C. You can attach it to your computer with that USB-C charging cable. The bundled Logitech unifying receiver, there is no place to stash it inside of the mouse.
What?
Yeah.
But they have places to stash the unifying receivers inside the keyboards.
I don't know.
Even their presentation remote.
I don't know why.
Logitech.
In any case, so USB-C, the unifying receiver, or you can also use it with Bluetooth.
Oh, that's
So
nice.
I like the fact that you can use it on all the things. If $99 is feeling like more than you want to spend on an ergonometric experiment, Cherry of mechanical keyboard fame also has a wireless ergo mouse, but this one cost $26.
Wow.
So this is Cherry's MW4500. Now it's got a 45-degree angle, 2 buttons onto the left side for your thumb to page forward or back, and on the right side is a scroll wheel and of course left and right buttons. It would be hard to be a mouse without mouse buttons. And you'll see the LED on the side flash 1, 2, or 3 times when you click the center button on the top. That cycles you through 600, 900, and 1200 DPI options. There is no fancy software, but it is incredibly simple. I mean, really, it's incredibly simple. It works. It's $26. It's cheap, and the power comes from AAA batteries. You can only use the dongle to connect, though there is a place to store it inside the $26 mouse.
Wow.
I'm just saying. Unlike Cherry keys, which are probably my favorite after my IBM 3,000-year-old buckling spring keyboards, Model M keyboards, Cherry keys, they feel luxurious, they feel mechanical, they feel like slamming a door on a 58 DeSoto, except when it was new, not rusted out. This mouse feels cheap. The 4500 feels kind of cheap, but it does the job and it does it inexpensively. So, a couple options for you there if you're thinking about ways to reduce the strain on your body. And again, I mentioned earlier, some people feel it relocates the strain rather than alleviates it, but these are options. And I gotta say, they both worked really, really well. And you gotta love a $26 mouse that's just not the same hockey puck you've been using all these years. Well, bar of soap, I guess.
I like my bar of soap.
I use mice, but my personal favorite is, of course, still a trackball. What are you using for keyboards and mice? We're really, really curious. The thing that came with your computer, the thing that came with somebody else's computer that you stole. Do you have like a $3,000 custom-built mechanical marvel? Email us, ask@tekthing.com. We're curious to hear.
There is a lot in this world that you just cannot control. Weather, for example. But you can control how your company reacts to incidents, like a terrible snowstorm that shuts down half of the country. How your company responds will either keep your happy, loyal customers or ruin your sales during the holiday season. Getting alerts immediately to the right person is critical when an incident occurs. That's why there's Opsgenie by Atlassian. Opsgenie empowers your teams to plan for service disruptions, stay in control, and it helps to notify all the right people through scheduling and escalation paths that take into account things like time zones and Christmas holidays. Deployment and scheduling of alerts is totally flexible. They can be sent over email, SMS, mobile push, even voice calls, and it's supported by over 200 integrations like Jira and Amazon CloudWatch and Datadog and even more. Opsgenie can also help your team learn how to improve future incident responses with built-in tracking and insights. See, I think about how everything is connected nowadays. You have IoT devices and infrastructure, and even our cars are connected now, and there's always some kind of server downtime or there's maintenance that you have to deal with as a customer. And while you can't stop the service disruptions, you can make them a much more pleasant experience for me, your customer. So give me a reason to love your product and give the unsung heroes in your company a better tool to fight the good fight. With Opsgenie, your next incident does not stand a chance. Visit opsgenie.com to sign up to get a free company account and add up to 5 team members. That's opsgenie.com. Never miss a critical alert again with Opsgenie. And our thanks to Atlassian Opsgenie for their support of TekThing.
We got an email from Steven who writes, Shannon, I was watching the review of the $130 DJI Gimbal. I'd like to get that one for my brother, but I was wondering if you can suggest a sub $100 gimbal that will suffice. We normally don't spend more than $50 on each other for Christmas. We just wanted to see if there are any other options out there. Thanks in advance for the help. Stephen in Cedar Park, Texas.
All right.
Yeah.
Well, I would recommend, not this one, but it's from the same company. This one over here, it's called the Zhiyun Smooth Q 3-axis handheld gimbal stabilizer for smartphone, i.e. blah-de-blah-de-blah-de-blah. It's $89 currently with free shipping. Unfortunately, it is not on Prime. But I wanted to point this one out because I do currently own a Zhiyun gimbal that I use sometimes for my Sony RX100 camera, which helps me shoot better, smoother B-roll for this show. So anytime you see pretty close-ups that are really nice and smooth and not super shaky like they used to be, that's because I'm using this and I'm putting my little teeny tiny point and shoot on top of this thing.
The road was not smooth, however.
No, it wasn't. I actually had to return my gimbal to Amazon the first time that I purchased one of these, and I got a replacement because the first one was making noises. The gimbal was kind of shaking. It was making weird noises, and it was not calibrating correctly. Now, these are a little bit more complicated to calibrate, but the second one worked fine. I'm still recommending this company because the exchange over Amazon was so easy, and the new one has had no problems. It does charge off of just a couple of batteries, and it works just fine. So I've really enjoyed being able to use this with my little point and shoot. Now, to bring you back to the one that I was showing you online, that Zhiyun Smooth Q3 Axis handheld gimbal stabilizer, that one does look like a knockoff of the Osmo Mobile 2 from DJI, which I am holding here. It still has the 3-axis for smooth movements, and I like that it's powered by a built-in lithium-ion battery that's 4,000 milliamp per hour. They claim 12 hours of charge time, and it works via micro USB, which is all great, so you don't have to use a proprietary charging adapter. It also has built-in controls, just like the DJI. It's got a joystick, and if you connect your phone via the app, which you can also do with the DJI one, it comes with auto tracking and it does time lapses. So a lot of the similar functionality. Now on the negative side though, this gimbal does not support larger phones with cases on them, but neither does my Osmo Mobile 2 because they're almost the same exact size.
Well, could you, could you duct tape it on there, or can it not handle the weight?
It won't handle the weight.
Okay.
Because you can only stretch this thing so far out, because it's very much weighted on this side, so you have to make sure that it is balanced on this side as well. And if your phone is too big, it'll just flop over like that. And that is a problem that you will experience if you have a larger phone, so you have to make sure that you calibrate it correctly. But once you do get that calibration down, the Zhiyun's ones work very, very well. It's just you might end up running into a problem like I did with the first one of these point and shoot ones that I ordered, where the stabilization just didn't work and it was making noise. But this one works great.
Props to the company for supporting their product and making the return painless.
Yeah, absolutely. And they do firmware upgrades as well. So if you ever do have an issue, you can try doing a firmware upgrade and seeing if that fixes it. I did not have to do a firmware upgrade on this one, so I haven't had to do that yet.
I'm laughing because, what was the last time your router got a firmware upgrade?
I know, right?
Oh my goodness.
Gosh, it's been a while.
There is sort of calibration with mechanical gimbals. Like mechanical gimbals, I just want to mention these really quickly because they're incredibly inexpensive. And I was looking at one that I inherited.
Oh, you were?
Yeah.
Cool.
So they get no love, but old school mechanical stabilizers that look a lot like this, right? There's a bearing, there's a handle. They can work really well, and they're cheap, and they don't need power. They do need practice, although I really think all stabilizers or Steadicams or whatever you want to call them, they need Steadicam's a proprietary name, but you should go out and practice with these before you end up in a situation. Just to, if nothing else, like one of your fun things is to run and define at what point the stabilization stops being stabilization.
I always do that test where I'm walking all around the place and seeing wherever it ends up
Shannon's
shaking.
doing the Ministry of Funny Walks routine. It must be gimbal testing time. But I will say, you do have to disassemble them, I think, unless you have a really, really big camera. bag.
Because they're larger.
Yeah, they're really fun to hold when you're on a skateboard, and for some reason I'm less nervous about breaking one of those than, say, one of those.
Yeah.
But this one's actually the Roxant Pro Video Camera Stabilizer Limited Edition Midnight Black, so maybe there's a cheap one. That's like $65 if you're trying to get the price all the way down.
And it's on Prime.
It's on Prime.
Which is always nice.
And also, if you have tripods and stuff that you want to use with your cell phone, this is very similar to the one I have. But it's an updated model that the Wirecutter found, the Square Jellyfish iPhone compatible tripod mount. And I have one that's beautifully machined and was made here in the United States, but they don't seem to make it anymore. But it's something to look for, because it's like, if you already own this stuff, just use it.
Yeah.
Although it's hysterical to see a big giant tripod with a little tiny phone on top of it.
I am really happy to see so many, especially the electronic gimbals, becoming so inexpensive in the recent years, because that's opened up like a slew of products that I can potentially purchase within my price range. So this is wonderful, and I do love the Zhiyun. So let me know whichever one you choose to purchase. I would love to know what your experience is with it. I don't need to purchase another smartphone stabilizer because the DJI one works just fine, but if you're looking for something sub 100, I have had a good experience with Zhiyun. So definitely let me know what you think, and you can email us, ask@tekthing.com.
Please do. So my primary rig, my 1800X, my AMD Ryzen system, takes up too much floor space. So I'm going to stuff an 1800X ready for widescreen gaming and video editing into a Mini-ITX rig, more precisely this.
That thing's cute.
It is cute. Josh Niffen over at nfcsystems.com. He is an amazing fabricator. He has done some of the coolest stuff I have ever seen. And you know, something like this is crazy water-cooled wonder rig. It's beautiful. It's beautiful. But what you can do is pick up his latest, the Skyreach S4 Mini, over at SFF Lab, and actually they have some really lovely cases over here. This is the Skyreach 4 Mini is on pre-order right now. That's what I'm holding right here. So this will hold a Mini-ITX motherboard. It's got space for a 215mm GPU inside of this.
Nice.
And the reason I didn't build this spring is because, of course, GPUs were too expensive.
Yeah.
And now I'm going to end up reusing an older GPU I have because I'm waiting for the next generation GPUs to get cheaper.
Yep.
Or maybe I'm just waiting for them to be some next generation games I really, really want to play. Something that's really cool about this and fitting a full PC into something that small is the power supply. And the crew at HDPlex basically built this for projects like Mr. Sniffen's. This is an HDPlex DC to DC. It's a 400-watt power supply. And part of the reason it is so small and fits inside that case is because it uses a 330-watt DC Dell external power brick.
That thing's huge.
It is huge, but it's got the power to do the job. And I probably, this is a Noctua L9A, the premium low-profile cooler. No, this is an L9i. I probably should spring the bucks for the slightly larger and better cooling, I am told, L9A. But just for fun and because I like to traumatize myself, I'm going to, and I'm cheap, I'm going to use the cooler I have and see what the thermals are like.
Oh, so you've already used that one before?
Yeah.
Okay.
So I bought this to play around with another build. Recycling my AMD Ryzen 1800X and memory. And of course, I needed a much smaller motherboard because this this is like...
That's not going to fit a full-size motherboard.
No, this actually is about the size of a full-size ATX motherboard. So I ended up, because they had it locally in stock, a Fatality B450 Gaming RTX AC.
Nice.
I like shiny motherboards.
I do too.
I don't think there's much in the way of LED lighting on this, but I'm not really an LED lighting kind of
that's
person.
okay. Leave that part to me.
Project Unicorn Vomit is go! In any case, did it work? I will let you know next week.
Yeah, I can't wait to see it all set up.
I'm excited.
I am too.
It also will clear the floor space, and I will no longer have to vacuum dog bunnies.
Well, I am also excited because I will be building a new computer next year with my brand new RTX 2080 Ti.
Who's excited?
Me!
Little excited?
Yeah, just slightly. So that's going to be fun.
If you want to use an AMD Ryzen processor instead of an Intel processor, I got a spare motherboard you can have, and I believe it has LED lighting on it.
Will that work with the NVIDIA?
Yes.
Okay, I might take you up on that. Sweet.
I ended up with an extra motherboard.
Sweet, okay.
It's a long story. Oh my goodness.
Meanwhile, we got a tweet from hair fundraiser. They said, I took your advice and ordered the monoprice 8323 on Amazon for my son. Unfortunately, I got a Turcom TS823 sent to me instead. It looks like the 8323. Should I send it back to Amazon or just keep it since it might be the same but a different name and box? Thanks. Yeah, I'm just gonna butt in real quick here and say, send it back.
What she said.
Yeah. Send it back.
It could be the same. It could come from the same factory.
Maybe.
But why risk it? I mean, here's what I think is happening, right? When you go into search for sort of the Turcom, the 823, oh look, we've got a customer review. But oddly enough, it is Amazon's choice.
Yeah.
You know, it just kind of popped up someplace.
Very strange.
The one you're looking for is the monoprice premium H blah blah blah. But you're looking for the monoprice store, and I got a link to that down in the show notes if that helps you out to find the right one. I find it a little frustrating when I search for something on Amazon.
Yeah.
And Amazon's recommendation, Amazon's choice, Amazon's thing they put at the top between me and the thing I'm actually looking for. Whatever. You guys know what I'm talking about. It's irritating.
Also, I've noticed, or I've experienced this in the past, where you think that you're purchasing something very specific from a certain brand,
Right.
from a specific page on Amazon, like for an SD card.
I was going to say a micro SD card.
SD cards are great examples.
Yeah.
And they send you a product that has a completely different brand name on it, even though it looks exactly the same. Sometimes it's recommended to check out what it says on the page, and I'll just show you the Zhiyun page, for example. This one says it's from Zhiyun, but there's also sometimes this little section down here that says a whole bunch of other sellers, some on
Right.
Prime and some are not. So it might be worthwhile to check down here and make sure that you're purchasing from the actual brand and not from a third party.
There's a lot of shenanigans going on. I would also...
There are lots of shenanigans.
I think it has died down a little bit, but for a while there were companies you've never heard of that had been around for several days that were
Yep.
offering outrageous deals.
Yeah.
Yeah. If it looks too good to be true.
Probably is.
What the lady said, people. Email ask@tekthing.com. We're listening. Big thank you to Hack5 for the studio space that we shoot TekThing inside of each and every week. If you didn't know, hack5.org is the home of all sorts of awesome technical podcasts. Wait a minute. Let's get Mubix in there. Where is he? There he is. Mubix. He's so cheerful, people. If you haven't checked him out, hack5.org, then it's time to, ladies and gentlemen, hack your holidays, because there are sales going on for the superior pen testing and USB automation tools you know and love from hack5.org. And if you haven't heard about it, I'm going to say it again. C2 Cloud. Remote pen testing made easy. It's free, and it's like an enterprise tool for Hack5's tools so you can keep your networks and systems safe. Head over there.
And remember, once in a while, put down your phone, step away from the screen, and close your laptop and do something analog like Greg, who writes in, I couldn't pass this up, Patrick. With the right gear and a canvas tent and wood stove, you can stay toasty warm while it is well below zero outside. From Greg. And I absolutely love his pictures. That looks amazing. I am a glamper myself, so I wouldn't be out there. But your snowshoes look awesome. So very, very excited about those.
I'm not a glamper. I'm a dirtbag camper with the occasional luxury. But I just bought new snowshoes. My oldest just got over 120 pounds, so it was time for new snowshoes.
Oh,
Now,
how exciting.
yeah, well, we're going to be up, hopefully, in snow for New Year's.
So cool.
Yeah, my pre-CES go hug a giant tree in the Sierras trip is back. I'm excited.
That's really cool.
Unless there's no snow, in which case I will be sad, because
Yeah.
there is no party in life like explaining to a 6-year-old why you can't wear the snowshoes.
I want to see some snow for the holidays.
Look up on that mountaintop, son.
I'm ready for some snow. With my reindeer.
Oh my goodness. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm Patrick Norton.
I'm Shannon Morse.
We'll see you next week on TekThing.
Merry Christmas and happy holidays.
Yeah.
So what are you doing for Christmas?
Hiding.
Hiding? I'm going to Missouri.
No, we're gonna stay home. We're gonna, actually the kids are usually been pretty good about not waking up at the ass crack of dawn.
On Christmas Day?
Well, there was one, I feel like, I think I've glossed it over. There was like maybe one 4:30 a.m. wake up call.
Oh.
And then they immediately went back to bed when they were told to, which never happens. But they actually slept until like 7 or 8 last year, possibly
good.
because Daddy kept them up late with the movie and stuffed them full of a whole bunch of protein and starch. Because I'm evil that way. It's amazing what you can do when you keep a kid up too late and overfeed them. You can get to sleep in on Christmas Day. No, I'm just going to chill out, watch the kids freak out.
Yeah.
The kids are just old enough that they should be playing with the actual toys rather than the boxes.
Oh,
my
yeah.
youngest, which is an exciting transition.
That's very exciting.